I want to say welcome to my so-called life, and to anyone who watches this in the future. I absolutely thank you because quite a few people watch my lives in the replay, and I cannot thank you enough. But like I always say, let's go sewing. How's it going? My name is William, and this is my so-called life.
Get the most fun out of life, out of being a mother and wife. With new fashion excitement that's all created by you. On your new Touch and Sew
Sewing machine by Singer.
Touch and Sew.
Another first from Singer.
Be the girl with the golden touch on your new Singer Golden Touch and Sew machine. Dozens of exclusive features, like this new built-in needle threader for the golden slant needle, and the push-button bobbin that winds right in the machine. What a wonderful new feeling. You can do all three kinds of sewing: straight, zigzag, and chain stitch.
Touch and Sew, the push-button bobbin way.
Come sew on one at your Singer Center. Choose from 5 Touch and Sew models from $149.95.
What's new for tomorrow
Is at Singer today.
They're test-touching Touchtronic memory machines.
Incredible.
I'm Polly Bergen. Only Singer makes machines this easy to use. Touch. The memory remembers your stitch pattern instantly. Touchtronic speed control remembers to adjust your fabric thickness. What about basting? Touch. Great. You can forget about your sewing machine and concentrate on sewing. The Touchtronic memory machine family. Come take a test touch.
100 million people sew easier with Singer.
Hello. Happy Monday. I hope everyone is doing well. Awesome. Hello. I hope everyone's doing well. It is Monday, and this is the House of Sewing. If you are watching, I completely appreciate you. It's definitely Monday. I have everything up and running again, and so let's go sewing. All right, but excuse me, before we get to any of the festivities, This program is for entertainment purposes only, and its content is not intended to malign any religion, lack thereof, race, gender, company, individual, or wigs. All opinions expressed by my so called life and program participants are solely their personal views and do not reflect the views of every single human being on planet Earth. I hope everybody has a good evening flying my so called life airlines. And remember, I never claimed to be a tailor. I never claimed to be a sailor. But in my sewing room, I'm fearless with a full inhaler. But seriously, I hope everyone's doing well. And just like that pun, I'm going to make some terrible tweed pants. I'm going to make some tweed pants because I'm starting to match and make suits and make things complete. And so I'm going to make a pair of pants that match a jacket that I had a while ago. But seriously, I hope everyone's doing well. You know, I come here, I joke around and I talk about life. But as the years go on, I sincerely thank everybody who watches my channel. But now that we're done with all the schmoozing and hellos, let's start sewing. Oh. So normally I would have my vest on, but it's hot. It's been hot all day, and I'm talking about over 105 hot. So I will return to full vest when the weather gets well. Let's see. I have no idea what thread is even in there right now. But we will check. We will definitely check. You know, something extremely strange happened right now. I made friends with somebody that kind of said something annoying to me months ago. And it's not that I was ignoring this person. I wasn't being rude to this person. I just stayed away from this person, not even in a mean way. I just kept my distance. But I decided to be nice to this person. They go out of their way to engage me and talk to me. And today it felt good to make friends with somebody, you know, that I kind of didn't consider. Yay. Hello, Mona. Hello. How are you doing? I just got back from my son's MMA class. I was making friends with people. But seriously, this was somebody who, I don't know. I can't say that they annoyed me because I go there and I read a book. Or I'll be on my phone watching YouTube videos or something. So I cannot necessarily say they annoyed me. But I made friends with somebody today that I never thought I would have. And it's good to reach out. Yay. Awesome. I was enjoying your live stream earlier. It was so hot. We were just hanging out at my job today. That's one thing about the heat. When it reached a certain temperature, we're like, nope, no one's going outside. So it was definitely everybody was either on their phone, and I had Mona up on the big screen, up at my job. I finally got my hard drive together. You know, in the video that I just released, I can't take the heat. Neither can I. Do you know, I said something kind of like cocky where today somebody was like, oh man, it's so hot. Yay. Hello, butterfly. Hello. Great to see you. Today somebody was like, oh, it's so hot. And I wasn't even trying to be tough, but I was like, I'm from here. It's hot. It was 100 and It was pretty much 105 all day long. And the funny thing is, it really doesn't feel like it. I always say this, after like 102, to me, it's all the same. I'm settling. Oh, the Grand Darlings. I'll pop in later. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much. I'll be sewing tweed pants this evening. I said a while ago that this year I'm going for combos because I sew all these wild things, but I'll sew like a funky shirt and a even funkier pair of pants, but nothing's matching. So I've been trying to make pants because I live in a fabric store. I have a ton of fabric in here and I get ideas and I just start sewing. I'm definitely one of those people. But today was a good day. I spent most of the day cleaning and just trying to avoid the heat. Tweeting 105 temps sounds fantastic. In my latest video, you'll see in I don't even know what part of the video it's in. You'll see me. I'm putting my fur coat on in front of my house. It was like 100 something that day. I ran outside with my fur coat because I love that shot. I love that shot. I grow lemongrass. I have a ton of lemongrass in front of my house. And so I like the way it looks. And so I stand proud in front of my lemongrass. And it's hot outside. It is unbelievably hot outside. But I threw that fur coat on and was like, all right, these are the only shots I'm going to get because it's so hot outside. That brings me back. Like the last video that I released, there's a mistake in there where I'm standing at the sewing machine. Oh my gosh, Mona, you have no idea. There was one neighbor who put me on the neighborhood app and they were like, okay, I'm new here, but what is this guy doing? And quite a few people were like, oh, that's William. He makes clothes. And they were like, how do you know? They're like, he poses in front of his house. We all know. So to all of my old school neighbors, this is nothing new. And I come from a really eccentric family, and I know that's a shocker to certain people. So that's nothing new. They're expecting me to like smoke a turkey in the front yard, or like I'm expected to do crazy stuff. But to the new neighbors, they're like, this guy randomly walks outside and poses. And sometimes and I feel bad because they probably don't even see my camera. So they think I'm just some crazy person who walks out and stands in front of the lemongrass. Oh, good times. Good times. Sorry, I was just my son's poking around. He's probably so am I old school that I patch holes in socks? I know socks are cheap nowadays, but does that make me old school? Every time I see a hole in the sock, I bring it to a sewing machine and I'm like, oop, instant fix. And keep in mind, I'm not hurting. It's not like I don't buy socks all the time. But is that I don't know, is that weird? Is that weird that I patch my socks? I consider it being frugal and being smart. Oh, let me check. Okay. My grandma used to patch with wooden ball thing by hand. Wow. It's funny that you'd say that, Mona. I think that's where I get a lot of this from, was my grandmother. Nothing went to waste. And I was one of those kids. I've had lung issues my whole life. I would get sick and I would end up at my grandmother's house. And my grandmother let nothing go to waste. I'm not kidding you. In her backyard, she had a bird feeder and her backyard looked like San Juan Capistrano because she put scraps back there. But I learned from her to throw away nothing. And it's not even, and again, she was like Zsa Zsa Gabor, so she wasn't hurting. She just taught me how to patch things. I think that's really what it is. That I learned someone who was more depression era. So I think that's one of the reasons. My son looks at me like I'm crazy. He's all modern. He's like, why don't you just order them on Amazon? And I'm like, oh, let me tell you what we did back in my day. My grandma was the same way. And you know what? In a lot of ways, I'm like that. I grow food. I do all kinds of stuff. And I learned from my grandmother, who was a literal bird lady. And this was first. I only knew my grandparents as senior citizens. So this was from like 30 years on. Oh, grandmas. The good old school grandmas. My grandmother, she would sew all the time, cook food, and tell amazing stories. All right, so I'm going to bring my TiVo a little bit closer. I was shocked that I had enough material for a pair of pants. But this is going to look great with that 1970s jacket that I made a while ago. I bought this chair, but this is one of those chairs where you can go all the way back. So sometimes when I lean back, I feel like I'm gonna fall. But it's just this wonky chair that I got from a thrift store. Actually, no, I pulled this from the back of my job. That's right. This chair is probably straight from the 70s. It's from the old conference room. That's right. One of the reasons I talk about my grandmother a lot is because she was definitely an influence in my life. She was a fearless human. She recycled before it was cool. Oh, good times. But she also taught me how to sew. And that is what is most prudent and important here. All right. So I made sure to cut everything before because this is what takes the longest most of the time. I'm going to pin, but not as tight as I normally would. Did she save tinfoil? Yes. Yes. And she had a Pee Wee Herman sized tinfoil ball. She saved buttons. I've said this. She had thousands of buttons. I'm not kidding you. And there are quite a few buttons. I still have them. I have them in a toolbox. Excuse me. Quite a few buttons she would cut off of couches. I remember some of the couches that they came from. I think it's because my grandma was Depression era. She threw nothing away. And she lived through World War II, so she was all about saving. And she lived in the big house. She had the big house with all the rooms. She had literally made it in life, and she still lived like it was the Depression. I think sometimes it's good to be frugal, says the guy who's sitting in sewing, hoarding heaven. I have all her buttons. They're everywhere. Jars, tins, absolutely same. I was, you know, it's really funny during the pandemic. I was sewing. I sewed masks just like everybody else. I made millions of masks. I made clothes because I was sitting at home just nervous sewing, just like, because it was during the panty. Long story short, I didn't start buying buttons until a year ago. My grandmother had so many buttons. If you see a button on any of my old videos from like 3 years on, all of those I got from my grandmother's collection. She was a class A hoarder, if there is such a thing. But again, like I said, she was from the Depression era. She threw nothing away. Nothing. That's why when I finally was going through a house and I found a sewing machine table and a couple of sewing machines, like I only knew that she was sewing on one machine. She had a ton of machines in her house. But I was polite and I didn't touch anything in my grandmother's house. So she had this one table, she had all these different rooms. She had a pink bathroom. I'm not kidding you. I have pictures. And she had a pink room. And next to the pink room was this room that was an homage to 1970s. And there was a table that sat there forever and it's covered by the mirror. But long story short, when I was painting and everything, I'll never forget. I moved everything out of the room and I looked and I was like, that's a sewing table. My grandmother used Depression era folks are no joke. Absolutely. Absolutely. Great to see you, Native Atheist. Great to see you. It made me laugh because she let nothing go to waste, and it was a 1970s singer's table. It's literally behind my mirror, but she used it as a nightstand. Yeah, hello. Great to see you. I feel fortunate coming from those people because they taught me what it was to save, and they also taught me practical skills as a child, like extremely practical skills. That's one of the reasons why I fell in love with sewing, because you can literally make your, you don't like something, you can make your own clothes. There was a ton of stuff that I found when she passed away that kind of made me laugh because my grandmother was so prim and proper. She had so much silverware. I had to go and ask people where it all came from. Back in the day, if you went and signed up for a bank, they would offer you dishes or something. And the legend was, anytime any business was offering dishes, my grandmother would go and open an account. I'm not kidding you. In my storage unit, I could have a party for like 700 people, and everybody could have a fork, knife, cake knife. I have no idea why she was so obsessed with silverware, but And honest question. What do you do? And the funny thing is, because I got everything appraised because I'm modern, what do you do with real silver? What do you do? Besides, I'm not the pawn type. I'm in my 40s, so I don't need to pawn stuff. But my whole point is I have endless amounts of just utensils, all kinds of crazy stuff. She signed up to every bank, every store, every warehouse. If they offered dishes, she was there. And the funny thing is, in my family, I'm telling you, everybody fought over the house. They fought over money. I would tell people like, hey, does anybody want new silverware? Nobody wanted anything. I'm still thinking that, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. From now on, every year for Christmas, I'm going to give my son some silver. Be like, here, kid, this is an investment here. You know what? That's not a bad idea. I'm laughing. I'm laughing, but that's actually an investment. That's not a bad idea. Poor kid. Poor kid. Who you can't ask the family that you're born into, and he was born into a family of hoarders, of classic type A old school hoarders. Poor kid. Perfect. When she got real old, she used to save all the McDonald toys. Okay, so I actually recently had to deal with this. This same exact thing. I have a question for you. She loved Happy Meals. I actually had a neighbor who was exactly the same. I have a weird question for you. What did you do with them? Because long story short, I oh man, that just was chewing. It didn't sew anything. Oh, that's funny. Let's try that again. I inherited McDonald's toys all the way from the 1980s, well, late 70s, all the way through the 90s and 2000s. And I sold all of them. I had no idea somebody would pay $60 for a Princess Peach. I had all like every Nintendo everything you could possibly think of, every promotion, all the old school stuff of things that don't exist anymore, the Moon Man, all of that. And they even the person who gave them to me was even like, sell all of these. But I felt bad at first. But again, during the panty, I got really bored. And I couldn't believe how much money people were paying for Happy Meals toys. It was crazy to me. So if you ever hear me say like, oh, I've sold things online, I've sold all kinds of things online. And it's just absolutely crazy to me, the things that you can sell online. And my son, when he was younger, he saw me making money off of the toys, and so he saved a lot of his toys. They're still in the plastic. Oh, he's a good kid. We gave a lot of stuff to animal welfare. Awesome. I don't know where they went. She got one to play with. The rest were original bags. Yep. That's a collector. That is a collector. I heard some of those toys are worth a few, but they really are. They really are. You know, my pops was a hoarder as well, and he would buy foreclosed houses. Long story short, there was a house that we went to where we found thousands and thousands of comic books. I've told this story millions of times, but the one thing that I will say about selling something like that is you have to be committed. Because when you have an inventory like that, like I had thousands of McDonald's toys, but I also had a place to store them at my job. There's like literally an empty warehouse where I can hide all my hoarding. The real pirate hoarding that I have. And even with the thousands of comic books, I sold a ton, but I still have probably 600, 700 just boxes and boxes and long boxes of comic books. Probably more, but it's been a while. I buried them in my middle bedroom. Okay, let's try this again. And that's one thing I have made money off of a lot of the stuff here. But people who sell stuff online, they never talk about where they store their things. A while ago, my son saw me making money and he came to me and he's like, I want to get into drop shipping. I was like, son, those are millionaires with warehouses and nothing better to do. You have to have real commitment for something like that. And that's why I stopped buying stuff like that, because you really have to have a commitment. My ex-wife's father would buy lockers, and he showed me that there's a plus to it, but also an extreme minus. He bought a locker one time, and there was 6 Sea-Doos with the keys sitting on literally sitting on a trailer. Okay, well then you have to maintain 6 Sea-Doos. I'll never forget. We went out to the lake one time, and we were all having a great time. And I looked at him, and I said, "Hey, are you having a good time?" And he's like, "No, this is horrible." So there's one side, there's one side where everybody sees you having a good time on the boat, but then there's the guy who actually owns the boat who's doing the math. That's like, this is $900 in gas. I like Storage Wars. Do you know what's really funny? The industry, nobody would come out until that show got popular. That and Counting Cars. I tell the story 100 times. I bought a 69 Mustang for $900. And that was the first and last time that ever happened. Because after, excuse me, that show Counting Cars came out, everybody knew the value of their cars. And I like the count. I actually like the count. Even with Pawn Stars, it showed you that you get ripped off if you go to a pawn shop. I love Storage Wars, but the show that I loved the most was American Pickers. I'm sorry, but that is like a dream of mine. Tooling around in a van buying stuff, man, I'm there. I am there. Hey, how's it going, trees? How's it going? And you know what? A lot of these shows were rigged. In real life, I go out and I find amazing stuff. But again, I resell a lot of stuff, but I find crazy stuff without lights, glitz, and camera tricks, as the old Hollywood saying goes. How's it going, trees? Great to see you. Great to see you. Do you know what's really funny? Every time a patch arrives, I think of you, trees. I think of you. Patch addiction is real. I got a bunch of patches today, and I'm like, oh man, they arrived on the same day. Oh, awesome. Great to see you. Great to see you. I'm making some. Do you know what's really funny? This summer, I have gone tweed crazy. Between, it's absolutely real. It is real. I have nothing further even to add on that. It is real. Great to see you. Great to see you. I have no idea why I decided to make winter clothes this summer, but here we are. I think it's because I found an amazing vendor and somebody who gives me crazy prices, but also I bet they're like, what does this guy do with all of this tweed, polyester, synthetic tweed, synthetic polyester? I bet they're like, what does this guy do with all of that? Awesome. Now that's one business that I kind of don't want to get into. I said this a while ago. I bought a half of a bale of denim, and it took me 3 years to get through it. 3 years. One day I will go through my closet and show you all of the weird creations that I made. But because I had the truck and I had the facility, I thought I knew what I was doing. And then I had half of a bale. And I was slowly driving my truck home and I was like, uh-oh, instant regret. Instant regret. And I still have remnants of that bale. And I'm a crazy guy who still buys denim all the time. Oh, that's way off, but I can always fix it. I can always fix that. Years. It took me years. Again, it's because I have the facilities to, man. But you know, the funny thing is I have the know-how now but it's because of that crash, it taught me how to fly, if you know what I'm saying. Lots of Canadian tuxedos. That's why when there's certain vests, when people are like, I like your vest, I'm like, thank you. I made this from scratch for real. My early ones were extremely rough, but I got better over time. And I have so many vests that people can't tell the ones that I purchased or the ones that I made. Perfect. You know, my son is in there working out. I can't tell if he's singing, fighting, or what's going on, but he's having a good time. He's wooing, but it's dramatic. He's 14, so I would expect nothing less. I am that neighbor. I'm the loud neighbor. And I sew all hours of the night. And I know, like, sometimes I'll have the door open. I know they can hear my sewing machine clacking at 2:30 in the morning. Perfect. Do you know, I have a question for everybody. Does every generation stand around and talk about the generation before them? Give me one quick second. Okay, finally. So I'm the resident old guy at the MMA place, and when people figure out my age, they always want to talk about the good old days, but like the 90s were terrible. We just remember the good times. We remember the good old times, but like the 90s were terrible for a lot of people, you know? So I don't know. It's weird because I was sitting around with, like I said, I made friends with somebody today that kind of annoyed me. But you know what? As an adult, I'm going to see this guy all the time because he comes to the gym. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make friends with this guy. But we stood around talking about the 90s, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Have I finally reached that age where we stand around and talk about? I think I don't have a problem with the younger generation. Well, that much. But it was very interesting to me. It was very interesting to hang out with somebody who was a little bit older than me, but was already in the like get off my lawn stage. Only good thing about the 90s was the music. Exactly, Native. My pops used to always say, because when I was a kid, I loved Happy Days. I loved Arthur Fonzarelli. I watched it all the time. And my pops would always walk in and he would always say, the, the 50s weren't happy days for everybody. But it's true, because with popular entertainment, we portray ourselves as what we want to be. Nobody was living like that. Nobody. I know for a fact my pops wasn't living like that. My grandparents, who were actually like, in the 50s, I guess they were almost retiring. They didn't live like that, You're right. But it's weird to me when people go back and they look back at the 90s with this really romantic view. And I'm like, man, the 90s were terrible. But just like Native said, we remember the music. We remember pop culture to bias people. Some of the greatest movies of all time, or, certain records will come out and like, wow, it came out in this year. But we remember the nostalgia, not necessarily the actual environment that was going on at the time. And I always find that interesting. Even being from where I'm from, where it's the land of privilege, it's so strange to see how the way people look back. And they're like, oh, it was so much better then. But like, was it really? Was it really better back then? Quite honestly, it's more peaceful now than it was during the 90s, at least where I live. And that's not a good thing. And it's not even like with anything even social. I look back with nostalgia. When I look back, I think of me wearing my cross-color suit. I had this denim cross-color suit that I was obsessed with. 80s, 90s, 2000s. Slayer has always been there for me. Same. That is my band. That's like that's my band. Honestly, Slayer is like my band. What about you, Mona and Trees? What kind of music do you dig? My mom loved oldies. I had a really weird mix growing up. My pops listened to country. My pops grew like growing up. I grew up. My pops was obsessed with Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson. And then there was my mom, who listened to Earth, Wind, and Fire. She's probably the reason why I'm obsessed with Shalimar, because I'm about to really age myself, but they got popular right around when I was born. And she said she bought every record they ever put out. Hey, duh. What's up, Wilson? How's it going, Wilson? No joke, Dose. I am that neighbor. I'm that neighbor. Like, hi, how's it going? Great to see you, Dose. Great to see you, Slayer. I've seen Slayer quite a few times. Now I'm really aging myself. When I was 12 years old, I went to a Slayer show, and that was the first time I saw a real pit. And I remember being like, oh, when the entire front row of the crowd started going in circles, I was like this tall. Great to see everybody. I do like country now, but not when I was young. It's funny. My pops was kind of the hillbilly, and my mom listened to modern music. So my mom, and it makes me laugh. It really makes me laugh, because they were complete polar opposites. Who doesn't like Johnny Cash? I'm one of those people, I can sing almost every one of his songs. Every one of his songs. Yay! Hello. I saw Slayer with suicidal tendencies. Do you know the bits and pieces of suicidal are still around? And there's somebody that actually that I met at my son's MMA place that hangs out with them. It's crazy. They still have shows. It's crazy. You know what's funny? They had a show and he took pictures. It was all 40 and 50-year-old dudes. Everybody there was over 40. My first concert was Foghat. Okay, I'm not even joking. I love Foghat. Stranger in My Hometown is one of my favorite songs of all time. If you've never heard Stranger in My Hometown, it's one of those cruising songs when you're on the highway. I love Foghat. I love Foghat. Second was Boston. I can sing almost every Boston song. I think it's because I'm from that area. That Boston's down too. Boston's down too. How's it going, Skits? Great to see you. Great to see you. I hope everything's well up there. I hope the weather's treating you well. And he invited me, but something told me not to go. It was really awkward. It was nothing but 50 and 60-year-old dudes, like 40, 50 and 60-year-old dudes. Oh, yay. Hello, everybody. Hello. That is Foghat. I'm telling you, I love Foghat. Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show. Oh, absolutely. How's it going? How's it going? I would have loved to seen Boston in concert. That's one thing I'm glad that when I was younger, I had a cousin who turned me on to metal and was like, "Come with me over here, child." I think really what he wanted was somebody to go to a show with him. I will tell you though, I've been to a bunch of like rap concerts, and still to this day, I saw Nas jump out of a helicopter, and this was, how old is my son? He's about to be 15. This was 16 years ago, so we were all young. But I watched him jump out of a helicopter. I bet you he wouldn't do it now. I bet you he wouldn't do it now. Oh. Oh, now I have Foghat stuck in my head. I Just Want to Make Love to You is one of those songs. Dun, 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 dun. I don't want to be no slave. I don't want you work all day. I don't want you to be true. Needless to say, I love Foghat. And if you're learning to play a guitar, Foghat is they're great to play too. Oh, good times. Good times. I grew up in a house with a ton of records. I'm talking about like I've heard my parents had a bunch of Flip Wilson records. I've heard every Flip Wilson joke. Every time someone recycles a Flip Wilson joke, I'm like, you're stealing, but I won't tell anyone. I had a bunch of old Richard Pryor, Robin Williams, Andrew Dice Clay. I still have all of it on vinyl. All of it. But anything that Flip Wilson put out on vinyl, for some reason, my parents would purchase. And for some reason, I have almost every record that Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass Band ever put out. I know way too much about Herb Alpert. I grew up in a house with stacks. My parents were partiers. They were partiers. I had a DJ at party Saturday. I was all over the place, from Billy Idol to Nice and Wild to Cardi B. Wow. To Oliver. Yeah, that's all over the place. That is all over the place. Not too familiar with Foghat. I'll have to look at Foghat's amazing. Like I'm into good music. If it sounds good, I will listen to it. Do you know what's really funny? Does one time I went to a wedding where the bride and groom requested Rick James "Give It to Me, Baby" so many times. I don't like that song. They must have played that. I guess that was their song. They played that song a good 40 times that night. I'm not kidding you. It was like every third song. And we were there for a while. Oh, this is going to be hilarious. All right, give myself some room. Have you ever been to a party or anywhere that just has a terrible DJ? It really doesn't happen that much anymore because most people know what they're doing. Most people like know what they're doing. But I've been to some parties where I'm like, who let that guy in? Or they'll play something that's nowhere near what the crowd is looking for. I'm one of those people where I can definitely read a crowd. A long time ago in this really, really strange place called Detroit Lake, Oregon. We were out pontooning all day. What's the Foghat song name? It's "I Want to Make Love to You." And well, "Stranger in My Hometown" is my favorite song, but "I Just Want to Make Love to You" that's their song. That's Foghat's hit. That is their I love that song. I'm just now familiar with the meme. No, I have respect for DJs. I know quite a few people that have turntables. It's a skill. It's a skill. Like, I know quite a few people that have techniques. In no way, shape, or form will I ever DJ bash ever. But I skate a lot. I go to ice rinks. I go to roller rinks still. And the DJs are better now. Well, it's different. Like at the ice rink by my house, they won't let you in unless you're a professional, and I could tell. They make them audition, and they're like, "Do you have 80s and 90s hits?" Because that's what everybody wants. I'm really into music. Music is something that I absolutely love. I consider everybody has a soundtrack to their life. So I'm really into music. And it's funny, I'm into all genres, all kinds. That's why I have classical music opening up every single one of my videos, because I grew up very traditional and I know a lot of classical music. If it sounds good, I'll listen to it. I think you shouldn't be bound by one type of music. Is that weird? Hey, Alibaba, great to see you. Great to see you. How's it going? I want to be able to get Marty McFly, go Back to the Future and play Chuck Berry for people who've never heard. Yeah, great to see you, Ollie. Great to see you. Perfect. It is so strange having room in here. Want to understand an era? Listen to their music. Absolutely. Absolutely. What do you think people are going to say about this era? What do you think people are going to say about music nowadays? That was another thing when I was talking to my MMA buddy, where he was like, "Oh, music back in the day," and I'm like, every generation can say that. Every generation will say that. Yay, hello, hello. I try not to be one of those people who look back with to look forward with contempt. There's music that I hear and I'm like, okay, there's still hope. There's still hope. But it made me laugh today when I was talking to my MMA buddy, and he was like, oh, music nowadays. And I asked him an honest question. Can you name me a modern song? And he was like, that's not the point. Because he couldn't name one modern song, and that's okay. But I'm not going to trash something that I haven't stepped to, or I'm not going to talk bad about something that I'm not into. Maybe I might like it. There's all kinds of food that I'm like, I had no idea. Filipino food. There's a Filipino restaurant by my house. Who knew? Who knew? I love Filipino food. I'm still having eye trouble. I am so sorry. I am so sorry, Alibaba. I'm at that point where I have to wear my glasses all. Oh, are we back? Are we back? Oh, that's funny. That stings. I hope you're all right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm almost about to pull up the Calamity Cam, the camera that launched 1,000 views when I changed on stream. My mom has to get shots in her eyes. Okay, I'm not kidding you. My mom does too. Do you know what's really funny? Every time I've ever gone with her, I'm like this. That's so funny. That is so funny. My mom does too. I don't think I've ever been able to. There you are. It told me. That's why I'm pulling up my Calamity Cam. I have no idea what went wrong, but the signal is, I have Spectrum. So I have Spectrum problems. I'm gonna pull up my other camera if this thing will load. I don't know if it affects anything. Do you think the temperature affects my computers? That would freak me out. Oh, it's insane. I asked the people at Apple, and I told them I'm in an extremely hot room, and they said it doesn't affect anything. But I don't know. They would have to knock me. I have a question. Can you put Visine in your eyes? There's people who can't even put Visine in their eyes. I'm one of those people. I can drop Visine from half a mile away. They should have a junkyard for human parts because I need some knees and a little hair. I need to put a neck and back on layaway. I wish. Are you kidding me? If I'm not even kidding you, I'm not even trying to be funny. When they perfect hair transplants, I will go full fro. Full afro. I miss my hair. There's a lot of people like that. Oh, I thought I lost my picture. There's a lot of people like that. I put my zine too long ago. I do too. You know what's funny? I wake up and my eyes are purple. You know what though? My father was like that. My grandfather was like that. They always had bloodshot eyes, but they had real happy. And I'm, you know, I flash this picture all the time. But yay, hello, happy maker. Great to see you. Great to see you. But when I say that I used to have hair, I'm not kidding you. I used to have hair. Granted, this was 25, almost 30. This was 28 years ago. I am that old. This picture was taken 28 years ago, but I had hair. Oh, look how sharp my chin is. I use refresh eye drops. I'm one of those people. I have to use eye drops. I'm not the same with or without them. Yay, great to see you, Happy Maker. Great to see you. Welcome, welcome. I'm getting the kid and play fade. I am subscribed to their channel, their podcast. Yay, great to see you. Great to see you. You know, Dose, I was offended when I saw the Drake picture. I won't even lie. I was offended. I was like, excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Everybody thinks they're an original. Drake has no idea I exist. But I was the first. I was, well, in my little tiny corner of the world. Oh, you could have been Drake before Drake. Oh. I'll never go bald, but I can't grow facial hair. That's interesting. That's interesting. I could grow full ZZ top. This, I go back and I watch everything I do. This is less than a month old or something. Like I could grow a full beard in a month. Yay, hello, hello. Look at that young man. That was a very, you know what's so funny? Just like I was talking to my friend today, it doesn't feel that long. I remember sitting down and taking that picture and the guy being like, really? Because my fro was so big, he had to back up the camera. That's why you can see half my torso. He was so mad. Oh, he was so mad. I made him do his job that day. Let me add. Oh, let me remove that. Let me mute myself first. Oh, my fro was humongous. Let me make sure the volume's off on that, I believe. Those were great times. Those were great times. I still look back and laugh. I had such patience. I grew my hair out for like 2 or 3 years. I'll give you facial hair for Donald Trump. You know what? My grandfather, I loved that man. He was a World War II vet. He was a strong individual. I loved my grandfather. He wore a toupee. He refused to let his hair go. And because I only knew him as a senior citizen, one day he showed up and he had the full friar tuck. And like I only knew him as and no one said a word. No one said a word to him. It wasn't until years later. They were like, oh yeah, he wore a toupee forever. All right, let's try this again. There we go. I'm like, why the hell hair grows everywhere else but my head? You know, I will say that's one thing like I was not ready for about getting older was having no hair. I always had this luscious giant mane. And you know what the funny thing is right now, my son, he has this big giant curly mane. I tell him enjoy that for as long as you can. Enjoy it because you have baldness on both sides, sir. Oh, back, stomach, ear. No. I think that comes with age. I swear that you know what, honestly, I consider a lot of this a gift. Like honestly, I consider a lot of things about getting older a gift. I wouldn't mind just like a mini fro. I say that, but if I showed up with a full head of hair tomorrow, I would look crazy. I can't remember what movie it was, but The Rock had like a mini fro, and I was like, oh no, I would look crazy if I just showed up with a full head of hair. Because I've been shaving my head for over 25 years. All right, eventually I will finish these pants. I pulled my jacket out because, you know, this tweed makes everything instantly 1970s, but I think it's more or less the patterns. But these patterns are hilarious. All right, so let me flip this over. I promise this is a sewing channel. I swear. It's not just me reminiscing over my hair. I'm trying to think. I've been talking about the person who is the sneezer and the cougher. Today, they were inside the place, and I was like, nope, I'm not going in there. I am making a choice. Ah. Who knew that we were in the germaphobe era? But this person coughs and sneezes without covering up, and what can I do? And I know other people have said things to them because I've heard them say something to them. Oh. All right. Do you know what's funny? It's funny how music brings people together, but it truly, truly does. And I think people are shocked when they find out how much I'm really into music. But it's always a common denominator that I have with people when we're having a conversation, trying to find common ground. It's funny how music is one of those things. He was just spreading pollen like the bees. I cannot be around people like that. I'm a born asthmatic, and really what happens is that just makes you a catcher's mitt. You have a lower immune system, and so anyone who's sick around you, you will get sick. You will, especially anyone who's immunocompromised from the jump, you will get sick. And throughout my life, it has made me a bit, not a germaphobe, but I was washing my hands before it was cool. And so when I see people like that, I look at them like, oh, they still make you. Speaking of bees, I got jumped by yellow jackets yesterday. That's no joke. Around here, the same thing happens, man. That is no joke. I hope you you should put like marked safe from yellow jackets. That is no joke, especially at my job because we're constantly wandering around out in the country. And well, California version of it, it's like high desert with lots of brush. But we always have to look out for rattlesnakes. But this time of year, I am more scared of the bees and yellow jackets. Yikes. That is crazy. Was it a lot of them? When I was a kid, traumatic memory. Me and my friends, we were playing hockey outside, and I'll never forget. It almost blackened the sky. There were so many bees, and that was the first real swarm of bees I've ever seen in my life. We all ran in. We were kids. We dove in our garages, all dramatic, closed the garages, ran to the front of our houses. But bees are no joke. And are you allergic is the real question. Watch out for the myrtle. Okay. I didn't think that I had never seen one before. They're real. Those things are real. Every time someone gets one, they're like, "Here, you want to see it? You want to see it?" Something's get me every year. Hornets usually, but yellows the past 2 years. If there's that many of them where you live, that's crazy. I got an immunity by now. Mona brings up a very, very, very good point. Where I live, I constantly talk about this, how I'm going to be a bee catcher one day. I'm kind of not kidding. Where I live, there's bee boxes everywhere, everywhere. Along the freeway, in the hills. It's so strange to me. And now I have a trained eye where I can see a bee box. Southern California, man, we have bee boxes everywhere. Hornets are terrible tenants. Hornets are absolutely the worst. I'm not a fan. Do you know what's really funny? I get paid to remove rattlesnakes. I would remove a rattlesnake before I would remove a hornet's nest. Hornets and mosquitoes are else. Where I live, we have these weird, we call the, okay. So because Californians are eloquent and we are poet laureates, we call these mini mosquitoes, we call them no-see-ums. I know we're poet laureates here in Southern California, but they're these microscopic mosquitoes. This is the first year we haven't not been invaded by them. It was so bad the state was spraying in front of our houses. It was bad. There was one year, this was like 4 years ago. Isaiah was all bit. I was like, oh, get out of here, computer. Show me later. My computer's talking to me. Sorry. There was one year I was like, we can't go outside because this looks terrible. My son was all bit up. And then I went on Facebook. Everybody was bit up that year. Do you guys have stuff like that where you live? It was the craziest thing. And they called them mosquitoes, but you could barely see them. They were like almost not microscopic because you could see them with the eye, but they were tiny. It was the strangest thing. Dragonflies are great mosquito eaters. I haven't seen one in a couple years though now. I haven't seen a dragonfly since I was a kid. We used to have fireflies, all kinds of. I haven't seen a firefly on the West Coast in over 30 something years. We used to have all kinds of crazies, especially fireflies, because to a child, a firefly is something that's amazing. So I remember those things, but we really do not get things like that. And I've been to the East Coast and seen a swarm of fireflies. I wonder if they still get them on the East Coast. And when I say East Coast, I mean like Georgia, Florida area. Well, that's East Coast. It counts. It counts. I see them all the time. They get a bad rep. We don't see them at all anymore. That's so weird. I don't see. It's been a long. Maybe I'm not looking. When I divorced my ex-wife, I went through this hardcore phase. For 2 years, I sat out in the side of my house with my telescope. I could literally tell you every constellation. If you're on the West Coast, I'll take from Cassiopeia, the Little Dipper. I'll tell you every star that we can see because I was hanging out in my backyard. And it was weird. I didn't see any fireflies. I still have lots of fireflies here this year. Maybe it's the environment of where I live. There is massive building where I live. They're going out in the desert. They're going up in the hills. They're connecting us with other towns. Right now, we fought it for years, but they're building what's being called the bougie highway. They're connecting one really, really nice neighborhood with another. And there's this $1 million project right now. And so they're like, it's the freeway by my house, and it's just a mess. So I think that's probably why we haven't seen the wildlife like we used to, because they're literally stirring up the ground and shaving down the mountain. Over-industrialization is weird. Because I'm all for progress, but like we have driven all the wildlife away. And quite honestly, who's got $5 million right now to move into the houses on the hill from my house? Who has $2 million to move in the people down the street from my house? Like, they're building all these extravagant things around here, and I don't know who can afford to live in any of them. Even that guy I was talking to, he has a really, really good job in the movie industry, and he lives in a condo. I don't. It's crazy to me, and they say it's not. It's no jobs to laugh out loud. Someone's making money. They are. They recently we fought so hard in my town. We used to have a dollar theater. For everybody who's been in my channel for a while, they're like, "Oh, here he goes again." But it was a $1.50 movie theater, and it was there forever. I mean, forever. And it was abandoned for a while. Someone turned it into a club, and it's insane. And they tore down the movie theater to make an empty building. They tore down the movie theater. They put this giant building up, and it says for lease. And the entire town was like, this is what we were fighting against. Right now, I'm not kidding you. In California, 3-bedroom houses are $1 million. $1 million. When they had an open house for the neighbor behind me. The person behind me paid $1 million something to live in my neighborhood, which I think is insane. But when they had the open house, the lady who was the realtor, she came around. She was being nice to everybody, but I noticed how she kept on coming around my house. So I went to the door. She gave me a flyer, and I looked at the price, and I'm like, "How much are you selling that house for?" I couldn't believe how much the houses in my area are going for. And it's a standard American 3-bedroom house. It's no frills. I have vaulted ceilings. It trips me out. How much the houses are going for in my area. And we don't even we live like you got to get in your car to go to the beach. These are like beach prices that people are paying to live around here. It's crazy. I'd like to visit Cali, but couldn't afford to live there. It's insane. And it's been it's been coming, but it's been it got insane ever since the panty. The prices are just insane. There's someone at the end of my block. I know for a fact that they paid over $1 million something, and I'm just like, you paid all that money to live here? Man, you give me $1 million, man. I I love my neighborhood. This place is Mayberry. It's quiet. It's nice and quiet. It's beautiful here. I live near an elementary school, but to pay that much money and you don't have kids, you're great. That's why Cali should just break off and become a luxury island. That's why in my video, I kind of said something and I wasn't even trying to sound pretentious, and I'm not. When I go to Las Vegas, everything is cheaper because where I live, things are just expensive from the jump. So people ask me all the time, like, oh, why do you go to Las Vegas? First, they treat me like a king. You get the best service ever. When you go to like resorts and like I go to the Mandalay Bay. I go to places where they call me by my last name. But it's affordable because we pay insane prices to live here. Insane. If I told you how much I spent, like, if you ever hear me gripe about the grocery store, it's because inflation has hit us hard. and I love going to the grocery store because I'm a junk food kind of guy. I will be here for a little bit. But you know what? I feel like it's like that everywhere because I was looking at certain places to move, and because of people migrating with money, it's expensive to live anywhere nowadays. I think I was gonna move to Utah, and you gotta be rich to live in Utah. I went to Vegas back in '94 on a construction gig. I hardly slept. Do you know what's so funny? It's so funny you would say that, Dose. Every time I go there, I lose sleep because I'm so excited. And I'm old now. Every time I go to Vegas, I'm like, it's the atmosphere, it's the feeling. It's Have a great night, Mona. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much. Have a great night. So there's that entire area of South Central Compton and all of that has been gentrified. A lot of that area just looks like my neighborhood. That's why a lot of that, like most of Compton, Watts, Carson, a lot of it's been gentrified. There are parts that are still crazy, but like a lot of the stuff that you see on YouTube and all the crazy stuff that you see, it's a concentrated area. It is literally like a 5 or 6 square. Well, I don't know. It's like a 5 or 6 mile circle. Have a great night, Mona. Thank you so much for stopping by. Yay! Thank you so much. But most of California has been gentrified, and you have to be a millionaire to live in Compton too. That's why everybody who's getting houses inherited and everything, that's why they're selling. And it's really sad because right now we're having a crisis of people selling out to these big conglomerate corporations. So what's happening is one of the reasons these houses are worth $1 million is because these crummy corporations are willing to pay the prices for that. So somebody who back in the day, that was generational wealth. Like you got a house, good grief, that's bills you don't have to pay. Now people, they see how much money they're going to get in the long run and they sell the house. And so those areas have been really cleaned up. They pump O2 into the casino to keep you awake to gamble. Man, Vegas gets me hyped. That is the rumor. I wouldn't be surprised. But most of those areas are gentrified now. Even my area, like they do all kinds of weird bougie stuff, and I'm like, why are you doing this? Or like they've been looking for masons to build fountains, and we're like, excuse me, where are you gonna get the water? gentrification has utterly and completely taken over my area and anywhere that's surrounding. Basically, if you've seen it in a movie, it's been if Denzel Washington was in a movie there, it's been gentrified. But with that being said, please don't move here and go to those areas thinking that you'll be okay. Even it's so sad. I used to live in Hollywood, and even Hollywood's become really bad. And it's sad because Hollywood was a safe place. I know that sounds crazy, but it was a safe place for a 19, 20-year-old to roam around and learn about life. And it's unsafe now. It's really sad. All right. So we're, like I said, I always make these spot on. So we're going to see if I'm going to have to do a jump kick to get into these. And I'm going to have to remember that I have that camera so I don't change my pants on stream again. I noticed how I changed my pants on stream, and then the next week I had like a bunch of extra watchers going like this. Oh. Oh, good times. Good times. I have to check for pins. I have to check for pins because lately I've been really bad at checking for pins and paying for it. And really, really paying for it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm not even going to play around. Oh, I can't remove you from the studio, can I? There we go. I am not going to make that mistake twice. Nobody should own land and not do anything with it. The government says it's overcrowding here, but if you ever drove through Central America, you know that's not true. Seriously, Dose, most of like I love driving. Recently, I've been driving back and forth to Vegas all the time, just like I said, because it's cheaper in Vegas. It's so weird. But there's nothing out there. Where I live, once you get out to Mojave, California, you are in the middle of nowhere. You are literally out in the middle of nowhere. I took so much footage. I felt like I was going to over inundate my video, which I did. But my whole point is I took footage of Mojave. It is literal nothingness. And and there's a grid out there because Edwards Air Force Base is out there. So you could run all kinds of stuff back there, you know? I agree with you. We have all kinds of land in America. All right, so let me put this away and I'll try these pants on. Hopefully, you know what? I keep on because I know my dimensions. I keep on forgetting to take any growth that I've had recently into consideration. Drive through Holland. One town is next to the other. There's just a sign saying you're in another town. I think that's beautiful. I love those little small towns. That's like it was really sad to see a lot of these places have actually closed. When I was driving through Vegas, there was a lot of antique stores and a lot of places that have disappeared. It was actually really, really sad to see. But even here in my hometown, like a lot of business is disappearing. And I know it sounds crazy, but like the parking lot where the 99-cent store is used to be a place where everybody was, and now it's just this giant abandoned parking lot. It's really sad. Okay. All right. All right, no more stalling. I gotta try these pants on now. No, it is all all town and no countryside, just buildings and a sign saying you're in. Crazy. LA's like that. I didn't understand until other people started telling me that not everybody lives in a place where there's not miles and miles of houses. Like here, LA's the same way. Spread everyone around and create jobs in those places where people are. There are no jobs in these overcrowded places. The government needs to tell people to get the fudge out of the cities. You know what's really funny? They're hiring everywhere in like Vegas, like all these places, you know. But again, it's really funny because people migrate together. In the early 2000s, it was Arizona, where all of a sudden they had millions of people that moved there. Now it's Vegas. All of these people are moving there. And I just want to know, where are you going to get your water 50 years from now? But I say that, and I live in Southern California. Where are we going to get our water 10 years from now? Okay. So I'm just making sure that both cameras are stopped. Okay. I don't want to repeat what happened last time when I changed my pants and was not paying attention. It's very true, though, Dose. It's very true. But like they honestly, with like programs and unemployment, they make more money off of that than people being employed. All right. Getting cold. These are gonna be tight. Oh, but these are to my exact dimension. Let me suck it in a little bit. Okay. Oh man, I'm getting a little too precise. Perfect. I guess I should put some shoes on for effect. Okay, so far I haven't heard any ripping. Perfect. All right, let me switch my angle. That is the camera. Perfect. I love, I have fallen in love with tweed. I know it's hot. I know it's the summer, and I know I'm crazy because I'm wearing tweed clothes, but I have fallen in love with the tweed. You need to put on some. Should I put on the old school big band? But da 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 da. Oh, these look great. Tweed is hot, but here in the House of Sewing, I said I'm going to make complete outfits this year. So I made these pants. Hold on, because and for anyone wondering what I'm kicking, yes, I am kicking a tambourine. I own all kinds of weird instruments. Oh, look at that. Oh, I need a big puffy shirt with this. Oh, I'm ready to go to the Regal Beagle. I am ready. Hold on. Can I do the kick? I can do half a kick. Oh, tweed looks nice. Thank you. I love this jacket. This collar, the collar is humongous. And lately I've been on this weird thing where I'm like, no, man, I'm gonna do combinations and because I still have a ton of leftover fabric. So I decided to finish my suit. Oh man, that fan feels amazing. Tweed is extremely hot. Tweed reminds me of a southern church in the summer with no AC. That is real. Thank you so much, Happy Maker. Thank you so much. I'm this year, I'm telling you, I've been determined to complete outfits because last year I made quite a few hoodies. I made quite a few jackets and I probably made 4 or 5 pairs of pants and I made hundreds of other things. So I'm going to try to make more outfits this year than anything else. And I'm going to get a classier shirt than my Sturgis shirt that is older than my child. But this looks great. This is something I would actually wear out in public. So when you see me on People of Walmart, it's me. It's me. I have to take this jacket off. Tweed is blistering hot. And Dose, you are right. It's like being in a southern church with no AC. Oof, I don't know how I lasted so long with my tweed suit on Monday. That reminds me, I'm going to start making hats again because I see all the hats I've made over the years and I started getting really good at it. And then I just started I went in a different direction. I am definitely going to start making hats again. All right, let me switch my camera. Perfect. Yeah. I love this. Reminds me of a couch my grandmother. I love this print. Oh, and the fact that I can do that is a plus. There's no ripping or tearing. That's good. You look like you can put on fire. You can get put on fire with that coat. That's for real. No, that is serious. I love these pants. And they keep on passing all my tests. I don't know. There's about 2 or 3 pairs of pants ago. I have no idea what I was thinking. I did not take my backside into consideration. So every time rip, I can fix that. So every time I did that, there was a rip. Okay, I can't stand up now, but I can fix that. You need to find the fabric that's on the chair behind you. This came out of this is a straight 1980s or 1970s chair. This came out of the dusty storage room at my job. The absolute dusty storage room at my job. I was doing my victory lap way too early. Actually, it's not that indecent. I can fix that. Matter of fact, we're gonna fix that right now. The blue fabric by the wall. The blue fabric by the wall. I'll find it. I will find. Okay, let me. Can it be let out? I'm about to right now. I am literally about to put my other pants on. I wonder if I will. I've been doing laundry. Do you know what's so funny? After this live stream, people always say all these extravagant things that they do on YouTube, and they talk about all these extravagant things, and I'm going to do laundry after this. So yes, I'm looking for my shorts. Hopefully, are my and one shorts in here? Where are my and one shorts? Oh, okay. Okay, good. The camera's not on. Did you just measure the whole side? I'm not kidding you. I don't know why I do not take my backside into consideration. And the funny thing is, if I was taking measurements of somebody, I always am like, I need all of your measurements. And the funny thing is, I was talking about this on Phoenix's stream. It's funny how when you make clothes for other people, you will literally, I follow every step you're supposed to. When I make clothes for myself, I put one eye over my other eye, and I'm like, all right, let's go, let's sew. Okay, so that problem is easily fixed. Good grief. Now we're gonna have to do that again. Oh, that rip was so loud I couldn't even play it off. That was a loud rip. Oh, good times. That's not bad. That's not bad. I can fix that. I can fix that. You knew how big the hole was. It didn't. Oh, I know. Oh, I know. This is the beautiful thing about the trial and error of sewing. You make something, you hear a rip, and you're like, I can fix that. I can fix that. Oh, it's embarrassing. I made these spot on to my see, I would stick a finger to there without being decent. I made these spot on. I mean spot on to my size. And then these are not meant for, these aren't dancing pants. Oh, I even cut them a little bit bigger too. I talk about this all the time. And I'm not even saying this to be funny. My weight goes up and down. And like I just act accordingly. I'm of a certain age where I accept myself for who I am. So I'm just gonna fix this and move on with my life. Oh, those are definitely picture day pants. Oh man, I need to find that. My mom had she in her house, she has a frame with all my school pictures behind it. And in the early years, man, my mom sent me to school in tracksuits. There was one year she sent me to school in a three-piece suit. There was there was one year I had this weird, it was so 90s. It was this weird t-shirt with all this weird print on it, man. Oh, those definitely are picture day pants. Those aren't dancing pants. Definitely not dancing pants. Definitely. I think that's where part of the nostalgia for all of this comes from, is that I remember when people used to dress like this. Or you had that one Uncle Cleophas who wouldn't let it go, who was still dressing like it was 1975, even though it was 1989. Oh. And you may not think you have an Uncle Cleophas, but you do have an Uncle Cleophas, and maybe you are the Uncle Cleophas and don't even know it. Oh, good times. Let's see if I fix my shame. Oh, that's funny. Really, what that rip was all the chili fries I've been eating lately. My son's MMA studio is next to two Mexican restaurants, a Jack in the Box, and then there's a Greasy Spoon directly across the street. And I mean, they make real food. Like they'll make you waffle, they'll make you chicken and waffles. Man, seriously, they have one of the most extensive menus I've ever seen that a greasy spoon ever have. If you can think of it, if it could be fried, they'll make it for you. So I've been eating a lot of chili fries lately, so I have to take that in consideration too. All right. Do you know whenever I do this, I'm looking for daylight. All right, let's try these on again. I got some crappy pics too. What was our parents thinking with the wicker chair? I have those same pictures. Oh, I have those same pictures. My mom sent me looking like I was in a polka band one year. And then it made me laugh. When I started watching The Sopranos, I used to dress like that in elementary school. My mom would take me to Mervyn's or JCPenney's outlet and give me a tracksuit. But it was a sweat, with the top and the bottom. I used to dress like Polly from The Sopranos in the 4th grade. Oh, good times. I never liked wicker ever. When I was a kid, I went through so many phases. I did so many dumb things, but there was one time I told my parents that I didn't want a bed anymore. I wanted one of those big futon chairs. Do you remember the big round crate chairs? Does anyone remember? It had a big mat and it was just a huge chair. I'm not kidding you. I think I still have back problems to this day because I slept in that weird nest thing. I bought one at a thrift store. I know that's a shocker. I was in high school and I'll never forget. My parents were like, bro, I'll buy you a bed. I'm like, I want this thing. It was a huge wicker chair. That thing destroyed my spine. Oh, to be a stubborn teenager. I remember my dad being like, is this really what you want? And I was like, yes, I'm a stubborn teenager. Oh, does anyone remember those chairs? Those giant, it was just a wicker chair, but it had a cushion. It had a big cushion. Mine was oversized. Or maybe I've just been this size since junior high. All right, let me make sure. Okay, good. But I had one of those huge round wicker beds, man. That and between that and the futon I had, another thing, I had a futon as an adult. I don't even know why they sell those things. I had some dress shoes and the bottom sole looked like smashed oatmeal. I think I learned how to jive that year because they teased me every day. Oh. Don't feel bad. My parents were so out of touch that my dad got me the fake Adidas from Payless, and my brother took me to the store because he knew I would get beat up if I had fake Adidas. And that's when I fell in love with Vans because they were affordable. Oh, those were good times. My parents were so out of touch. And I never forget my dad saying, what's the difference between 4 stripes and 3 stripes? There's a big difference. Okay, if you hear another rip, I might start crying. Okay, so far, no rip. All right, let's test these out. I'm scared. I am scared to sit down in these pants. Oh, that's so true. It's so funny how out of touch parents are. I asked my son, hey man, I'm not trying to send you to school looking crazy. So what do you need to wear? That's decent. All right, let's try this again. All right, so there's only one way to test these pants, and this microphone is not cooperating. There we go. All right, here we go. I'm just gonna go full karate kick. Oh, no rip, just a white sock. And for people wondering if I'm wearing just different socks, I am. Beautiful, no rip. These pants do remind me of an era of when my mother dressed me, but I love tweed. I love this print. This looks like grandma's old couch. I'm calling this one a victory. Oh, I need some water. Oh, oh man. You gotta do the Cholo squat to test them. I lived in Oregon when the Cholo song came out, and I remember, what is it? It's front, back, side to side. That's the dance. Oh my gosh, I remember. Oh, that's funny. Now they can be dancing pants serious. You know, again, my body is changing. I'm of a certain age where I am at the age of acceptance. And sometimes I do not take certain things into consideration. Especially when you cut a pair of pants, or what I do is I use a pair of pants as a template. So what I do is I'll fold my pants and then I cut along my own pants. Because let's be real, they're your size, you know. You have to get the pair of pants that you wear all the time. I use what I call my Montana pants. I got them in Montana. They they're Carhartt. That's about it. They're 10 times thicker than any jean I would ever be able to purchase in California. But I use that as my template, and I've made hundreds of shorts and pants without a pattern, because if you think about it, your clothes are your own patterns. That's one thing I love about sewing. I accept that my pants will be pulling in the back and pushing in the front. For real. I am at the age. That's what I'm saying, man. At some point you have to accept who you are, or you're gonna go crazy, especially in today's world of people overanalyze everything. You name something, that subject has been torn down, built back up, and torn down again. So you have to be okay with yourself. And I'm not saying that in a forceful way. I'm saying that in the, we should all hopefully be okay with who we are. My big thing with acceptance is when I started going gray. When I started going gray, I was like, all right, this is the moment. This is the moment of whether you're going to start looking like those weird Dark and Lovely ads, or you're just going to accept the gray. And I accept the gray. I just, I accept my gray for what it is. And on the side of my beard, I have gray on both sides. So I have this weird Raja Gould thing going on. I don't know. I like the gray. But of course, I had to accept getting older. But these pants came out perfect. They came out absolutely perfect the second time. Once I fixed, what? It's funny that everyone got to hear the rip live, because that's the part of sewing that people rarely talk about, is when they try something on, they're walking around, they're like, uh-oh, this is the moment. Are these gonna rip? You do a fake nollie, you do a karate kick. But that's sewing. You have to know these things. And like Joe said, I have not been taking my backside into consideration, which I need to be. Oh, man. I'm calling this one a victory again. All right, let me switch my angle. We'll try this one more time. This is where the rip happened. They edit that out on vids. That's seriously for real though. They do edit that out on vids. Do you know? That's actually something that really, really, really bothers me about how to YouTube is that people are not honest. Um, I pay a lot of money for my fabric. I'm not saying I spend a ton, but I spend money. People be like, "Oh, I fell upon this." No, you went out and bought that. Or the thing that gets me is when someone will say like, "Oh, this is easy." You have 20 years experience. That's why you're saying it's easy. When I started doing tutorials, there's a lot of things I noticed. That's why you'll notice in the beginning of all of my videos, I show you the completed project. I'm not going to waste your time. You will know in the first 30 seconds of what I have done and what I've completed, because I want to show you, no, this is a completed project. And then we'll go back to the beginning, because it bothers me with tutorials. People waste your time, especially like imagine being in a pinch. I get this more with like computer tutorials. Someone will tell you their life story. Bro, I am here because I cannot access my files. We can talk later. So that's why anytime, even in my videos, even if I'm not showing you how to do something, I'm going to show you up front. Like, no, we're here. I promise this is a complete project. I promise. Because I feel like a lot of how-tos, they take you down a road. They take you on a guide like this, and it's like you need a tour guide, you know? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's one thing I try to convey in my videos, because the only thing I can control is myself. And it trips me out how people waste other people's time on tutorials. I watch how to everything, how to change tractor oil. How to change oil on my truck, on every car I've ever owned, you know. And I appreciate a video where people get straight to the point. So what Alibaba said is 100% valid. That's why I show everything, even my crummy mistakes, the t-shirts with unfinished collars. I show everything because that's the real side of sewing. Not like lights, glitz, and camera tricks are cool, but there's a lot of people who are beginning to sew who don't know that 90% of what you do at first is going to be a mistake. And then over time you'll get better, you know. I think it's weird that people are not honest on tutorials. But again, one of my biggest pet peeves are people who are sponsored. People like, I watch hauls. I love watching boot hauls. But when somebody's doing a boot haul and they're showing like $900 worth of shoes, bro, I know you did not. I know you're sponsored, because people don't have money like that for boots. I had to buy work boots, and it took me months. I'm not saying I couldn't afford them. It took me months to physically go there and do it, because I knew I was going to have to drop at least $200 for a new pair of boots. Yeah, Alibaba, you triggered me. I think it's crazy how people lie. YouTube will be all front. I'm not saying, but it's crazy to me how much people do not show their mistakes or how they got there. Because, we're not all professionals here. And I think that people need to be reminded of that. As he rants and says, "Get off of my lawn." Oh, man. I've shown my picture. I've whined about my computer. Oh, I've whined about being old and how old people whine. Oh. No, Alibaba, it's not a bad thing. No, I feel like we should be more honest with each other. It would make the world an easier. It's more of a funny trigger. It's more of a funny trigger because I watch professional people. They're like, I'm going to show you how to do this and this. And I'm like, okay, the average person doesn't have a steam press. The average person, you start going down the line. And you're like, wait a minute. Oh, it's nothing but love here. Nothing but love. But because of people who dangle the finished project over your head, they're the reason why I show you right off the jump. Like, nope, here's an orange tweed suit. Here's a terribly made hat. I feel like sometimes, and it's not just in sewing, it's in YouTubing, television, movies, whatever, we want to show the best sides of ourselves, but I want to show the human side that we crash more than we fly. All right. Well, I've been at it for 2 hours. I'm going to go do some laundry and go play with all the new patches that arrived to my house. If they ever do a study on Amazon addiction, sign me up. Sign me up. Oh, I'll be back at it on Wednesday. And hopefully this time I properly label my thumbnail. I called Wednesday, Monday, and confused everybody. And this is twice now that Pam caught my mistake because Pam's paying attention and I'm not. I want to thank everybody who came tonight. Joe's, Mona, Native Atheist, thank you so much for stopping by. Alibaba, as always, I thank you so much for stopping by. Anybody else, if I missed you, I absolutely, Butterfly Skits, I absolutely appreciate everybody who stops by. Anybody who watches this in the future, I absolutely thank you. I'll be back at it on Wednesday. Same bat time, same bat channel. Making funky pants. I fixed them. They ripped, but you know what? Sitting in a room of sewing machines, so they were easily fixed. I hope everybody has a great week. I'll be back at it on Wednesday. And like I always say, reinforce your seams, be yourself, and I will definitely have a great night, Happy Maker. Thank you so much for stopping by. And I will definitely see you next time. Have a great night, everybody.